Well, in Italy, nearly 800 people have died within the last 24 hours, bringing the total of deaths there to 4,825. A lockdown to limit the spread has been in place for weeks. Now, tougher measures have been introduced which stop people visiting parks, playgrounds or public gardens.
Fast-breaking developments in the coronavirus emergency in the U.S. and around the world. The number of cases soaring just today, more than 24,000 now nationwide. New Jersey today becoming the 6th state to close all non-essential businesses, joining California, New York, Illinois, Pennsylvania, and Nevada. More than 80 million Americans now told to stay at home. New York State with more than 11,000 cases, and now New York City with new rules on who will be tested. Plus, Governor Andrew Cuomo's alarming prediction. He says 40 to 80% of people will ultimately become infected. Across the country, some hospitals bracing for the worst, beds filling up with patients, critical supplies in some cases running dangerously low, and healthcare workers afraid they will have no way to protect themselves.
The UK, and we have the latest data now from Public Health England, NHS England, that the death toll in the UK has now been confirmed at 233. That was up from 180. That we knew about earlier in the day. A further 53 people have died in England.
As of 10 a.m. today, we can confirm in New York City 5,151 cases confirmed of coronavirus. And to give you perspective, that is now about 1/3 of all the coronavirus cases in the United States of America. It is about 2/3 of the cases in the state of New York.
In the last 48 hours, nearly 1,000 people have died in Lombardy alone. The hospitals are overrun with the sick and overwhelmed by the dead. Little can prepare you for what that looks like, but Sky News was invited to Cremona Hospital to bear witness. Italy's foreign minister has urged the country to watch our report. I repeat, he says, stay at home. And that is the direction indefinitely. No one knows when this lockdown will end, while the crisis continues to escalate here. In the space of a month, Italy has lost nearly 5,000 of its citizens, and they're only the ones that we know about. Many elderly are dying in their homes or in care homes and aren't recorded in official figures.
Agreed. We're doing more tests than any state. So, for example, we've done 45,000 tests. California has done 23,000. Washington has done 23,000. So you see how many more tests we are doing. And again, I credit the team that's working here because this is exactly what the mandate was. Perform as many tests as quickly as you can.
I guess I'd say, even though the number of deaths are constantly rising here, it's a pretty tragic and somber situation here. I would just say if this isn't a wake-up call to, follow the rules, stay in your house, then I'm not sure what is at this point.
The number of positive cases now is up to 10,000. Number of new cases has increased by 3,000. Just go back in case you can't read as fast as I can't read. 6,000 in New York City, 1,300 in Westchester, 1,200 in Nassau.
An early rally on Wall Street fizzled out Friday after New York's governor ordered all non-essential workers to stay home to stem the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. That announcement, following a similar move by California, wiped out investor optimism over the Senate Republicans' $1 trillion stimulus package. Wall Street experienced its worst week since 2008.
Now, on a personal note, many of you may have been made aware that a member of my staff has tested positive for the coronavirus. We learned of that late yesterday. I am pleased to report that he is doing well. He had mild cold-like symptoms for about a day and a half, has not been to the White House since Monday. Neither the president nor I had direct contact with that staff person. We worked immediately with the White House physician and the CDC. We've done all contact tracing. And while the White House doctor has indicated that he has no reason to believe that I was exposed and no need to be tested, given the unique position that I have as Vice President and as the leader of the White House Coronavirus Task Force, both I and my wife will be tested for the coronavirus later this afternoon.
Just saw some hospitals struggling with their limited supplies of masks and equipment. President Trump and Vice President Pence at the White House today with a major announcement saying they're ordering hundreds of millions of masks. When can hospitals expect them to arrive? Even the president asked his team about this in the middle of his news conference. ABC's Trevor Ault is at the White House.
Tonight, as America's healthcare workers face rapidly dwindling supplies, President Trump says American businesses are stepping up.
It's been really pretty amazing what's happened with the private sector. They are really in sixth year.
Protect them from virus. But the virus isn't floating around in the air. So it's not protecting me against anything because it's not there. It's probably going to be on my hand because of...
They've run out of room at the morgue, but they haven't run out of respect for the dead at Cremona Hospital. The next batch of the lost waiting for cremation are laid out in the hospital chapel before collection. Their families couldn't even say goodbye. They're all in quarantine. It's a recurring theme now. Everyone dies alone. They came from here, the hospital's intensive care unit, which is on the brink of collapse. This is what it looks like when the virus overwhelms, and here in Lombardy, it's overwhelming. These patients are critically ill. In all probability, they won't make it. The staff have no cure available to them. They're just trying to keep them alive. Every 13 to 16 hours, they turn the patients over to relieve the pressure on the lungs.
We're also going to conduct immediately trials for the new drug therapy, which we have been discussing. I spoke to Dr. Zucker about it. There is a theory that the drug treatment could be helpful. We have people who are in serious condition.
Despite the early bungles, despite the early cover-ups, there seems to be a belief that once the national government got involved, that the authorities would find a way through this crisis.
很乐观的，中国是对这个控制很严的。
你觉得外面比家里里面好不好？
Vacuum cleaners and garden tools, to ventilators that can help people breathe. 1 week after the government made a public appeal for help, G-Tech in Worcestershire have their prototype almost ready. This is day 2 of 24-hour testing.
We think we've solved all the difficult bits. We're just making the last bits of a pneumatic timer now, which hopefully will be ready in a few hours. If that works, we can take all the electronics off it and it will just run on an oxygen supply, so it's very simple. I'm confident we can build them in reasonably short time and quite high volume. I'd estimated 1,000 a day.
Australia's Bondi Beach has been shut down temporarily. Officials were forced to close the beach after thousands of people flocked there in recent days, defying social distancing orders.
The landmarks of London are empty of crowds in an unprecedented way. In some places, you can count on one hand the number of people walking the streets. These iconic places are now symbols of a country at a standstill.
You may have seen pictures of ER workers in their masks and gowns, along with the hashtag #GetMePPE, Get Me Personal Protective Equipment, drawing attention to the desperate need for basic equipment like masks and gowns and gloves.
Nearly 1 in 4 Americans were under orders to close up shop and stay at home Saturday, with New Jersey becoming the 5th state to direct only essential businesses like grocery stores and pharmacies to stay open in order to slow the spread of the coronavirus.
We recognise that this is a challenging time and that there are many things that the government is asking the nation to do differently as we work together to fight this pandemic. However, there is one message I want to start with loud and clear this afternoon, which is be responsible when you shop and think of others. Buying more than you need means that others may be left without.
Millions of Americans who prepare and serve our meals have been among the hardest hit by this pandemic. Restaurants could lose $225 billion in business, according to one industry group's report. And 5 to 7 million jobs could be eliminated in that sector over the next 3 months.
The White House Coronavirus Task Force wrapping up its briefing just minutes ago. Behind me on Capitol Hill, Senate negotiators are trying to agree on a bill that would give trillions of dollars to Americans amid the growing economic fallout of the coronavirus outbreak. With that,
there is not only a shortage of coronavirus test kits, government officials and healthcare workers say they don't have enough of the swabs used in those kits. Here's Health